No, come. Hello, everybody. Today I'm scouting new locations to be doing filming. Nino, because I've officially moved to the father of my son's parents' house. Nino, what are you doing? This dog likes sniffing every single thing he sees. So I'm really liking this outdoor scape because look at the mountain. Lighting on fleekies. But I wanted to talk about everything that we discussed in the last video. This is kind of a part 2 to my whole idea on the fact that I believe Israel is potentially trying to fulfill a prophecy, because it seems like there's a lot of people that think that. But I want to make it very, very clear that I am not a theology major. I don't know the history of religion necessarily, and also I wasn't raised religious at all. So I'm not Christian or Jewish or any of these things. However, I have connections to all of these faiths. My grandfather's half Jewish, we found out from his DNA test. And, which was interesting, by the way, because he was adopted. And I went to a Jewish school for a few years, and I have other family members who are Jewish. The father of my child's son is Muslim, and what else? My son's Muslim. My mom's side of the family is Catholic. My grandparents were technically, I can't even think what they are, Episcopal, but they didn't ever go to church. My dad was an atheist, and now I think he's a little bit more agnostic, whatever. Anyway, point is, I wasn't raised in any religion, and so everything that I discuss with you guys is things that I'm researching now, whether that be through YouTube. I have the Bible. I have a kid's version of the Bible that I've been kind of glimpsing through, but I don't necessarily know any of this stuff. I talk to ChatGPT a lot about what it is that the questions that I have, and that's where I get a lot of, especially the information that I had in the last video. So no, it doesn't come from me directly reading things, but just doing research on my own and trying to figure out what it is that people believe, you know? So take everything with a grain of salt. I'm just kind of exploring things through my own lens. I've always been a believer in more than just, I guess, what would you say? More than just the reality that we see in front of our eyes. I used to love ghost stories and stuff as a kid. But I became extremely spiritual after my grandmother passed away. I had a very profound spiritual awakening, and that's when my dreams and visions started coming a little bit more often. But yeah, that's when I kind of started taking it more seriously. Anyways, moving forward, I want to discuss some things that I want to talk to you guys about in future episodes. First of all, I by no means am trying to be hurtful or hateful of the Jewish religion. When I speak of Israel, I'm specifically speaking about a lot more times for sure, the Netanyahu and the actual government rather than the people. I don't think people are inherently bad. But I'm just very interested in the belief system of what Israel believes about themselves, what different religions believe about Israel in regards to prophecy and all these things. And then more so even the patterns that, as an outsider looking in, that I see. In a future video, I really want to discuss how I find it very interesting that, as I said before, I thought that Israel might be forcing God's hand in a way. And that's, how they say that the name Israel is one who struggles with or wrestles with God. And then the actual, what bird is that? I always like to look up birds that pass by because I think that they have some symbolism. But the one that wrestles with God. And I know a lot of you were like, oh, well, they struggle. It's more like symbolic and all these different things. But I mean, I think it really is up to everybody's discretion of what anybody chooses to believe. Like, ultimately, we don't necessarily know the true meaning of everything, right? Like, that's at least what I'm understanding, is that there's multiple ways to interpret a lot of things in these religious texts. And for someone who was like their first time hearing about it, for me, it seemed like Israel has like a very important role in like the Bible and all these different things, right? So it almost has like what seems like a key player, like a main character type of thing. But again, not in the way that they're morally good or bad, but that it almost would seem like it is possible that the actions of this nation of Jacob or Israel could affect God and his desire to, or his need even to come back and present himself or manifest himself itself. Again, I don't know. I don't necessarily believe that God is like this man in the sky. I just think it's an easy way to kind of explain this. And then, I don't know, I've always been like the all universe type of person, but like when it comes to like looking at what's going on in Israel today, I think we do need to discuss like what it is that they believe and what other people around, what other religions believe surrounding this matter. So, from an outsider's perspective looking in, I was looking at the patterns of stories of Israel. And it seems like a lot of them, it's like, and again, I'll go further detail when I'm at my house and I have like this whole, when I have like a whole thesis statement and conclusion and all these things. But basically, it seems to me like even if it's not something that Israel is particularly able to control, like perhaps they can't, through their actions, they can't force the hand of God, as like you guys are saying, nothing can force the hand of God, which is totally a fair statement. Perhaps it at least is evident of what's to come in regards to a pattern that we've seen throughout history with stories of Israel, where Israel is like basically going through this cycle of rebirth, reverence, all these different things, and then kind of turning away from God. And again, this is not me like saying anything bad about Israel, it's just like what seems to be a pattern throughout these different books. Again, Israel is a word that means he who struggles with God and prevails, like continues on and seems to have an important feature. That's where I come to the potential idea that perhaps the role is predestined or pre-planned to be what creates the chaos that requires God's return. Now, this wouldn't mean necessarily that Israel is more powerful than God or what have you, but it is an idea that perhaps God could have pre-planned that as well. Like, I mean, created a covenant with Israel. Again, I don't know about this stuff. I really don't. I haven't read all these things. These are just ideas that are popping into my head, and they could be wrong. I mean, I just am discussing with you guys on my channel different ideas that I've been having. Oh, Nino, don't come on. we'll keep walking here. Anyway, it seems that Israel goes through these cycles, and divinity goes through them, and the rest of the world seems to go through them as well, where it's like, again, this wrestling with God. So I told you about this like reverence, and then it's like this forgetting, right? Which is interesting because it's something that does mirror the human condition, right? Where we do maybe have God answer a prayer, or we can, look highly favorably upon God, and then sometimes we can forget and turn away, or do things that necessarily aren't what would be considered godly. Spider. Anyway, Israel seems to turn away. And also another thing that people are discussing as well, like as I researched this, they're saying that Israel, like, like when Israel's in chaos, it seems that the world is in chaos. I don't know the proof behind that, or like what other stories necessarily. I'll have to keep researching that. But it's very interesting because it is mirroring what's happening right now, right? Like the world seems to be in a bit of chaos. And then, okay, after said chaos, it seems that divinity takes action, whether that be positive or negative. Whether, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like they're like, woohoo. It's not always like a good thing. It can be a judgment. But God does something to intervene, right? That's like, seems to be the cycle. And then Israel can return back to like irreverence or whatever, which again kind of mirrors that whole idea that basically Israel will always prevail. And that's why I was saying before, like, it seems almost like they could potentially have this like divine, just from like how the world is looking right now, that they could have this like self-sacrifice factor, which it doesn't make sense like to some, because of course like the atrocities that are occurring. And for those of you that don't think there's atrocities occurring and that it's not Israel and that it's Palestine and Hamas and the human shields, I'm sorry, but like that's the exact vernacular that's being used by politicians. Like it's just, come on, like, it's propaganda. You've got to start you guys got to wake up. This is not an anti like Jewish thing or anti-Semitic thing. It's just about the fact that like there's clearly a genocide happening, that like it's being flattened out, like all of Palestine's being flattened out, bodies are being hidden so that the count of the amount of bodies that are actually like being found is lower than what's actually happening. Like, Hamas can't be hiding in every single building in all of Israel, or sorry, of all of Palestine. I'm sorry. And for those of you that think like these people are evil or bad or what have you, it's just like a whole nation. Like, I'm sorry, just like listen to what you're saying. Like, children, babies, all these people, and like, where's the political gain? I don't know. There's more and more people that are also coming out and saying that they believe that the IDF is also complicit in October 7th. I'm not saying that wasn't just a terrible atrocity, but I'm also saying that there's a potential that Israel's own government had a hand in that. And I don't think that that's something that's only true with like the Israeli government. I think that's something that's happened in the United States government like plenty of times. I remember one of my friends did a research project on this in high school, talking about like, basically these different atrocities that could happen that were actually set up by the US government in order to basically stop the or in order to kind of distract or give a reason to attack a certain place, right, for the country. And I think that that's very much what is possible, and not only possible, but probable case with the October 7th or I'm sorry, I forgot the date wrong, but with that specific day, with the atrocities of that day, it doesn't mean that it wasn't like an atrocity. It doesn't mean that it's not a terrible thing that happened, but I do think there's a potential that the government is lying to you guys about it, and that it's actually something that, and I'm not laughing out of like this is funny, but like out of a nervousness thing, because it's pretty scary, but to give them reason to go and do what they did in Gaza, what they're doing in Gaza. Like, it's not, I mean, I'm sorry, you guys gotta wake up. The entire world is not against Jewish people. The entire world is against seeing the atrocities that we have seen. It is a genocide, a real genocide in front of our eyes. And like, it's scary to think that, like, especially Jewish people that have gone through such atrocities in their past can't see that. It's very sad. It's very sad, and I'm sorry to offend whoever may be offended, but at the end of the day, this is not against the Jewish people. This is for the Jewish people, and speaking up for the fact that, like, I'm scared for you because I feel that, like, you're being lied to by your own government, and that you might have been killed by your own government, and that is very scary. I'm not there. I don't know all these stories and everything, but I do know how it looks from an outsider's perspective. I do know how the rest of the world is viewing it, and it's very much agreed upon that this is a genocide. It's not against the Israeli people that, like, I'm angry personally. I'm angry with the fact that you guys have, like, the Israeli people have a leader that is really truly evil. I'm sorry. That's evil. Like, what other kind of, like, especially when people are speaking on things on behalf of religion and trying to make it seem like a godly thing, like doing evil things on behalf of, like, what they say is godly, that is evil to me. Like, that is very bad. That is like the worst kind of evil, because it's trying to fool people. But I mean, look at the things, look at the other facts, right? Like, they just bought, like, TikTok or all these different things. Like, they're clearly trying to censor anybody that's trying to say something against Israel. And then you look at the whole Charlie Kirk incident. Go watch the Candace Owen videos, guys. I mean, as someone who lives near this whole incident, as someone who literally lives in Utah and, like, is very close to this, it just I don't know. I take a particular interest in it, again, because I am so close to it. But it's just like, it doesn't line up. I knew from the very beginning it didn't line up. I mean, anybody that's from Utah knows, like, it's just, it wasn't making sense. It wasn't making sense. And it's starting to look like something, again, very similar to, like, the JFK situation, where JFK was actually killed by CIA agents. I don't know if that's confirmed or anything. I'm pretty sure it was in the released CIA documents or what have you. Or CIA agents, I don't remember. But it was something more internal. And it's really starting to look like this whole Charlie Kirk situation is something similar, because why are they, like, covering this up in the way that they are? I just watched a video too talking about, like, I don't know, I find it very odd that Netanyahu was so like, oh, we love Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk is a very big fan of, you know, Israel and all these different things. But then days later, I mean, I'm starting to see videos where Charlie Kirk was talking about how he was believing that there was a genocide occurring. And not only that, like, having discussions about how different donors and everything were trying to leave, like Turning Point USA or whatever. And they were threatening him, right, to, like, leave if he had, like, certain people on his show that were anti-Israel. And just 2 days before he was murdered, he, like, had a group text talking about how he was forced to leave the pro-Israel cause. Like, I don't know, guys. Like, It just seems like there's something very big going on. And I don't know, you know how I am. I'm very into this medical, physical stuff. I don't really necessarily know. I've never really gotten into this actual, like, Abrahamic religion side of things. But something very spooky is going on. And I do believe that Israel's not going to just stop there. And we've already seen that, right? We've seen, like, Qatar being bombed and all these different places being bombed. And I think we should be more scared than we are in regards to that. I think we really all need to open our eyes. People in Israel need to open their eyes. And everybody needs to see what's going on, because it is very, very scary. And it's evil. I'm sorry. This is not about Jewish people. I don't know how many times I need to say that. But something evil's going on. But what I do want to say is that the whole point of what I was discussing earlier, and the video that I will be making soon, is going to discuss the cycle that we've been seeing throughout these different books, these Abrahamic religions and books. And the cycle that we are seeing is that, again, we see like this moral turning away from God, from Israel, and then we see divine action. And so I do believe that this is not something we need to be like we don't need to feel like this is the end of the world. I think the end of times is possible, like the end of the world as we know it today, as we know it currently, as we've learned about society and life to date, is going to be coming to play, because all of these systems and like the 1% and all these different things are going to start to collapse, like all these injustices. I feel like truth is going to be coming to light. I do think that there's going to be chaos at first, but I think we're kind of in the midst of that chaos, and it's only going to get more chaotic, in my opinion, until everybody wakes up to the darkness of what's been occurring, and what is happening. Like, where, you know, for so long I've been trying to discuss the whole fact that, you know, it's never been a battle between Republicans and Democrats. I used to be a diehard Democrat because I was like more liberal or whatever. But then I started to realize, like, wait, they're just trying to play us against each other. You know, like, they're just trying to distract us from the fact that the problem is actually within the government itself, that it's very corrupt, and that people are getting paid large amounts of money, like, to pass certain things. I mean, like, look at the whole Epstein situation, like the fact that the government doesn't want to release that. Think about all the different elites that must be somehow puppeteering the US government. Like, Israel must also be puppeteering. Like, there's so many people that are controlling the US government, and they're using this divisiveness to try and distract us from that. I think that's why they specifically made the shooter have a trans girlfriend, like all these different things. They're just trying to create more like divisiveness and more blame for, you know, anyone but them, like wanting us to continue pointing fingers so that we don't point our fingers at the right thing and come together also, by the way, and fight what's actually the real evil that we have at play here. But I do think more people are waking up to it. I think this whole Charlie Kirk thing is actually backfiring in a way that maybe they didn't plan, but I wouldn't put past anything with them. I wouldn't put anything past the government. I mean, like, think about that too. They like just barely paved over the site where this all happened. So many things are not lining up. I don't know. It's just very, very interesting. We're going to continue talking about all these things. I highly recommend... Nino, why would you go that way? Nino. This way. Come on, Nino. Let's go home. Let's go. I know it's a dog. Ah! This way. Nino, come on. I know you're so excited. Sorry. Anyways, I'm just sharing my thoughts with you guys. I do highly recommend that you guys watch the videos that Candace Owens is putting out. I don't care if you're Republican, Democrat, if you agree with what she's said in the past or not. I mean, there's multiple things I haven't agreed with in the past. that she said. However, it's making a lot of sense. She's putting a very nice case together. I highly recommend you guys watch those things. And I do believe, again, that the truth is going to be revealed to us over these, like, next year or so. And yeah, don't be terrified, right? I do believe that this is part of the cycle. And that, again, when this happens with Israel in the different texts that I have seen, again, not an expert, from the research that I've been doing, then it does come to a point where divine action does occur in this cycle. And once that divine action does occur, it brings like a new, I don't remember if it said specifically covenant, but it brings like a new dimension of divinity, a new understanding of divinity. And again,